Hello, my name is Representative Pam Powers-Hanley, and I represent LD9 in Tucson in the Arizona House. Today is May 18, 2022. You might realize that I haven't done a video in like a month. Well, there's reasons for that. There was not really a lot to say except that we have had random schedules in the last month. My last video was about the skinny budget, the austerity budget the Republicans were trying to pass back in April. I recorded the video on April 19, almost exactly a month ago, and updated it on April 26 when that budget went down in flames with Republicans and Democrats voting against it, and even the Republicans who voted for it said they didn't like it because it didn't include their pet projects. For example, Representative Gail Griffin, who is in Cochise County, said that she was going to vote for it, but she didn't like that skinny budget because it didn't have border security and building the wall in it. Others, like Representative Joanne Osborne, said that she was voting for it, but she wanted to see a budget that had those expenditures for maternal and child health that went through the Health and Human Services Committee in the budget, because they were not in the austerity budget. I agree with Osborne. That money for maternal and child health should be in there. There was also not significant investment in education, even though we have $5 billion in the coffers. Why aren't we investing it? So right now we're in a holding pattern. Since April 4th, we've had very sketchy schedules. We have not been working 4 days a week, which is what we usually do. Some weeks we have 1 day. A couple of weeks we were supposed to come in on Monday and Thursday, which is a really inconvenient schedule for people who are living outside of Maricopa County. So right now we're still in a holding pattern. The Republicans refuse to negotiate with the Democrats, although we hear rumors that they are talking with some of the Democrats. They have some really intransigent members of the Libertarian wing of the Republican Party who really just don't want to spend money on anything. And I don't think that that's where the people of Arizona are. Those people are also into the voter suppression bills. Things are not going the way the Republicans had planned. You have these competing forces, and what the Republicans have done every year that I've been here is that they strong-arm their members into all locking arms and voting on the budget together without any Democrats. Well, that's not working this year because they have some extreme members who have some very different ideas on how the state should operate. There are sort of four parties in the legislature, and I have said this before. We have the corporate Democrats and the corporate Republicans sort of in the middle who would just love to give away more taxes. If they could send that $5 billion out to their buddies, they would. And that we have big tax breaks waiting in the wings to be passed. So lots of people have their eyes on that $5 billion. But then on the edges, you have the Libertarians who don't want to spend money on anything and would like to cut the budget even though we have $5 billion that we could spend. And then you have the progressives who would like to see schools fully funded, maternal and child health care fully funded so women stop dying in childbirth, infrastructure, maybe some roads, right? The Republicans were successful in taking down Prop 208 in the courts. The voters said they wanted almost $1 billion put into public education with Prop 208 funds. Since they took that prop down in the courts, and we have $5 billion, including over $1 billion in ongoing, I think at the top of the budget list should be fully funding public education with $1 billion a year ongoing, because we have it and we need to fund our schools. We need to fund our universities. We need an educated populace for the future. We don't want a state full of people who are just, I hate to use a Republican word, sheeple, who just follow along and believe. We need people who have critical thinking skills, who have an education, who can ask questions, who can decide for themselves whether this is what they want their government to do, rather than just following special interest groups and talking points that they hear on the radio. It's, like I said, May 18. We have to have the budget done by June 30th. Things are going very slowly. Today is Wednesday, and we are adjourned until next Tuesday. I don't know how this is going to end. So stay tuned. Hopefully, the budget will be good for the people of Arizona. That's what I'll be fighting for.